Back on Morning Line. It's our final segment this morning. Clint Kelly, our malpractice attorney, with us, taking your phone calls and some good ones so far this morning. We'll see if we can help you. If you want to jump in, you have a question whether or not you have a malpractice case, we'll do our best, or Clint will do his best to answer your questions. Let's go to Sean. Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Thank you
Sean.
for this opportunity. Unfortunately, I am the one that cannot file against this doctor. I had a slip and fall case that came up on me in 2008, which they did the surgery on me in 2010. I ended up in a wheelchair, and by the grace of God, I just put it in his hands, and I'm walking. I'm not in a chair, but I'm still with chronic pain, consistently chronic pain. So I changed my doctor, and now I'm with an herbal doctor, in which he looked at my medical records and told me that the back surgery shouldn't have been done. He should have did hip surgery. So I'm kind of like wow at this moment, because I know that's where the sciatic pain comes from now. I'm basically just treating myself for it. All I gotta say is know who you are gonna have cutting on you, know everything about that doctor, because if you don't, then it's on you at the end of the day when you still got that pain. I thank you for this malpractice guy. Thank you. Should have known you 5 years ago.
Oh boy.
God bless you to what you're doing, and I'm just grateful to be where I am today. I just put it in God's hands and keep going daily. Thank you, Nick, for letting me share.
You bet. No, thank you, Sean.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. What a sweet lady. And, you know, she makes a great point. But the whole idea of getting to know your doctor and knowing who's going to cut on you, and she's right, but I'm trying to think, how many people, just before they go into surgery, really spend some time getting to know the doctor and doing some background and getting references? I don't think
they
we do
don't,
that.
but I hope people listen to her, because there is some investigation that needs to be done.
What do you do? What at the very least, what should you do?
First thing you do is do word of mouth. You start asking people, what do you know about this doctor? You try to find out who some former patients are. If you don't know anybody that knows this doctor and you're just going to him, it's harder to check him out. Remember, it used to be, I remember years ago, if you wanted a doctor, you asked a friend or a relative, who'd you go see? And then you had someone that could basically be a reference. Now there's so few references, it's hard to tell anything about a doctor. Now, if it's an established doctor at an established hospital who is someone that you can maybe look and check out whether or not they've had any problems in the past, you know, they have like a website, Department of Licensure, and see, that can be done. But at the end of the day, Nick, you're putting your hands into somebody, or you're putting your life into somebody's hands, and you're not really going to know how good they are unless it's, like I said, somebody who is a good reference.
It's scary. Now, a lot of times we go to, say, if you have a back problem and you're going to need back surgery. Now, I might go to my general practitioner, someone who many of us maybe have had for years, if you've lived in one place, the same doctor, someone you've come to know and trust, who maybe you also believe is respected among his peers. And like, for instance, with my doctor, if I needed something like that, I would ask the doctor, who would you refer me to? And can you tell me a little about him? In fact, I've had that done with a couple of specialist things. And he has. And he says, listen, Nick, I know this guy. He's at such and such, such and such. He's one of the best in town. And I said, and tell me a little more about him. He goes, this is what I know, and I've trusted him, sent other patients there, and it's been great. And that helps me. Is that okay for a referral from your general practitioner?
It is. I think you perhaps might get more out of a patient referral than you would out of a physician referral, because these referral...
But when it comes to surgeries, though, I don't know how many patients, I have buddies who have gone through surgery. I don't know how many of them even know the name of the surgeon that did it.
Well, your back surgeon, if you're talking about back surgery, you're probably going to know.
Okay.
That's if it's local, there's not a whole lot of back surgeons in the Nashville area. They all kind of know each other.
Well,
so
heart surgery.
Well, same there. Cardiac surgery. You could ask around about that. There's people who've had open heart procedures, stents put in. I'm just saying that, to Sean's point, no, you can do more to investigate. Now, you can't do it all, and some of it is just taking it, you know, to some extent on faith, but you do need to ask around.
How important is it? Now, of course, all of us want, if we're sick, the best care, okay? And there's certain limitations to that to some degree, but how important is it for most procedures that you get the best doctor in his field or her field doing the procedure on you? Depending on the procedure, there may be a procedure that 100 doctors can do, but there's one who maybe is the very best at it, but they're all going to give you satisfactory results. So how important is that in your mind?
I want the best. Don't you?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, depending on, if the result's the same every time, most of the time, I would always want the best. But I mean, let
me tell you where my judgment, the best comes into play, and it's not just with doctors, but it's also with lawyers as well. The best lawyers and the best doctors handle the tough situations better. They handle the complications better. Anybody, well, I shouldn't say anybody, your standard routine lawyer, if there's such a thing, or standard routine doctor can handle the standard routine case generally very well, because we're all educated, we know what we're doing. It's when a complication occurs, a difficulty arises that may be unforeseen. That's where the skill and the person who has separated themselves as being the best, that's where those skills come to the forefront.
And that's what labels them as the best. That
Correct.
They are able to act and do a great job when things go wrong.
Exactly.
That's true in life, my friend. I don't care. In this business, when the prompter goes down or when you're out in the field and something goes wrong, you have to roll with it, and the very best can do it as seamlessly as possible.
You see this movie coming out about Sullenberger, the pilot that flew the plane and landed in the Hudson. Any pilots can fly planes. Not many pilots can land them safely onto the Hudson River and evacuate and get everybody off the plane safely.
If I had my choice, I'd want him piloting every plane I fly.
Now you've answered my question.
It's a great example. All right, let's go next to Joe. Are you there, Joe?
Good morning, Dick.
Hey, Joe.
Joe.
Oh, everything's okay. I just wanted to thank Mr. Kelly again for coming on and giving all of his expert advice on malpractice. A couple of comments real quick, and I'll get off. I know a doctor, it's been several years ago, but he did a lot of back operations and filed them up and different things. And he got sued so much that he just kind of took bankruptcy, and that way he beat the system more or less. But the guy that called in a while ago about the insurance and too many frivolous lawsuits or whatever he think it was, a classic example of what's going on right there in some of this stuff is this EpiPen thing, where this company bought the company out that was making them and jacked it up to like $600, and it caused so much of a stink. They finally the other day came out and said, well, we're going to come out with a generic for about $300. But the point of it is, I know somebody that for several years have been getting their EpiPens out of Canada for when they went up to like over $300, up to $600, they was getting the medicine, same brand for $175. So that's what's going on in the United States with our drug system. So a lot of this stuff, insurance and stuff, like Mr. Kelly alluded to, that the insurance is not going down. So I mean, you figure it out yourself. And as far as getting an expert doctor to do your surgery, I had open heart surgery 18 years ago and had to go back 2 years ago and have it again. And the same surgeon did it. And he's probably done more open heart surgeries than anybody in the city of Nashville. But he told me when I had it the first time, said it might last 10, 12 years, and you'd probably be back. It lasted 18 before I had to go back. So that says something about getting a guy that knows what he's doing.
Great example. Great example.
I know who Joe's. I'm almost positive I know who Joe's talking about, and he's absolutely yes, he's been around, and he is the best, and that's an example of what happens when you go to the best.
Yeah, the track record, and that he's around 18 years later to fix it for him. That EpiPen, it's not a malpractice situation in any way, but I do think one of the reports I saw about why this company jacked it all up was, well, you know what the truth is? I mean, yeah, we're jacking it up, but still the patient just has to pay that little copay. The rest of it goes to the insurance company. Yep. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, that doesn't make me feel any better, because I know the insurance company, unfortunately, is going to have to pick up this huge exorbitant fee for these EpiPens, which, by the way, I had to use for a while when I was allergic to something. And they're going to pass those costs on to you down the way in premiums anyway. I mean, do they think we're stupid? I'm sorry.
No, but it's amazing what happens when you raise a stink.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But that was absurd. And those things save people's lives, the EpiPens. Yeah. And now there's some people that may not have that because of the cost or however that plays out. All right, as we wrap things up, Clint, as we've already touched on, and there were so many other good things to talk to you about. Every time you come on, we can cover those. We had good calls today. Statute of limitations, a year. If you have a question or concern, let's put his number up on the screen. Call Clint, right? Check it out. The number of his office, 824-3703, 824-3703 there in Hendersonville, right?
It's right, and the call is free. The consultation's free. You don't pay anything unless I recover money for you if I take your case.
Can you give me just a sense? Again, I know cases are independent of each other, but how typically long does it take to resolve a case? I mean, again, I guess it could settle, or if it goes to trial, what are we talking? A year, 2 years?
Yeah, generally between 1 to 2 years.
And what percentage of your cases would you say end up going to trial as opposed to perhaps reaching some type of settlement?
Now about 25% go to trial. The other 75% get settled.
Okay, and that means that in 75% of the cases you take on, they settle because you clearly have evidence, I would imagine, of wrongdoing, unless they just don't want to spend the money on the litigation.
Well, they're satisfied that I can prove somebody's patently at fault.
Okay, and then you have to really mull it over about going to trial, don't you?
Oh, sure I do.
Because that all of a sudden jacks up the cost considerably as well.
Because,
for you.
Nick, just because I may think, and a doctor I hire thinks somebody's at fault, that doesn't necessarily mean the jury's going to agree with me.
No, because the defense is going to call their own witnesses as well, right? Who are going to contradict what you say.
And part of my job also is, that like there's a number of people like Brian that you may find on the jury who's not going to like your case. They're not going to like what you do. And part of my job is to identify people like that and make sure that they don't serve on my cases because they don't like my cases. That's part of, and you can't be sure when you pick a jury that you're going to get everybody that's going to be quote unquote fair. And so part of the process is trying to judge how good a case do I have and what is my potential success in front of a jury with this case.
Right.
Does it have a good jury appeal, and do I think I can get a fair trial?
Wow. I mean, it's just amazing the process. This is Clint, as always. Thanks for coming on.
It's a good show.
Really appreciate it. It was a good show.
Yeah.
And next time you come on, I want to hear what you come up with Lisa. Interesting, the situation with her mother and the eyes. He's gotten story ideas from this, or case ideas, which then become stories for me. Right. So, listen, I appreciate you coming on, Clint. Yeah. And we'll see you again soon. Have a great day. And when we come back, I'll have his number and location again up on the screen if you want to grab a pen and paper. We'll be back right after this. Thanks, Clint.